Hello, I'm Sarah. I work at the National Civil War Centre. This video is part of our Civil Wardrobe series where we teach you how to make costumes and silly things that will help you to dress up like a person in the British Civil Wars or the 17th century in England. Today we're going to make a paper wig so you can dress up like a Cavalier. To begin, you need 2 of these kind of milk bottles, the 2-litre kind. You're going to cut the top off one and get rid of it. And what we need is just this bottom half of a milk bottle, a whole of a milk bottle, and you pop that onto the top. And then you're just going to tape it on because this will make our model that you can use as a base while you're making your wig. So just tape it on nice and firmly using masking tape. Now, most paper wig tutorials will include something fancy like this. They've all got a lovely stand to make it on, but I didn't have one of these before and I'm sure you don't at home, so the milk bottle option works really well. So this is my stand. All you're going to need for this tutorial is those 2 milk bottles, some masking tape, sellotape will do, but masking tape is much easier to cut, a pair of scissors and quite a lot of A4 paper. Now I'm also using some A3 paper because that's to make the band around my head. My head might be a bit bigger than yours is. You could use A4 paper and tape it together, or you can use A3 if you have it. My paper wig is white, and that's because the only paper I had was white. If you happen to have tons of brilliant yellow paper or black paper or blue paper, that colour would be fine for your wig too. Okay, let's begin. You need for me, A3 paper, it could be A4. And you're going to cut pieces that are about 3 centimetres wide. So I'm cutting the full length of my A3 paper. And I will need 4 pieces this size. You don't have to be completely precise about your measurements. I haven't drawn any lines before I cut them. It's much quicker just to guess. But if you're worried about it, of course you can measure. Now I need to tape these pieces together. This part of your wig is going to be invisible when it's finished, so don't worry too much if it's not perfect. Now you're going to make a little cap like this, which will be the base of your wig. Start by taking one of these long strips that you've made and wrap it around your forehead, just above the ears. Make it comfortably tight so it sits still, but not so tight that it feels uncomfortable. And then you're going to rip off some pieces of masking tape. So one piece of masking tape goes across the join there. Your other long strip to the front of your headband using another piece of masking tape. And then we'll turn it around and do the same on the other end. You need to cut it to the right length. Get a friend to help you do this. Okay. I've made some more 3 centimetre strips. Now I'm going to find halfway between that previous strip, the 2 ends of it, and tape on this one. Take it across the top of the crown and over to the other side. And tape it down. Now you've got like a crown shape there. We might put a piece in the middle just to keep that secure. And then we're going to just add a few more pieces to make it almost look like a swimming cap. So here's my cap. Now I want to make my hair quite long. So I'm going to add this piece of paper, which is about 10 centimetres wide, and this strip is a full strip of A3 paper. You might find that you can just make this up out of A4 paper. And I'm going to tape it towards the bottom of the cap. Make sure it's firmly on, because all of your first pieces of hair are going to be attached to this long piece of cap. There. Now, I'm making a curly wig. That's because the Cavaliers used to have curly hair. It was very fashionable at the time, and so people would make a lot of effort to have curly hair. So, this is where it gets a tiny bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it, you'll find it's really simple. You need a piece of A4 paper. We're going to cut it in strips. Those strips are about 1 centimetre wide. Don't panic if this goes a little bit wrong, because as you'll see later, mistakes are easily hidden in amongst that mass of curls. 2 centimetres would be okay, but 1 is ideal for this kind of curly wig. And your strips that you're cutting, you're not cutting all the way to the end. Can you see I'm leaving about 2 centimetres before I get to the end of the page. So the whole thing gets cut into strips. Let's speed up for a minute. Okay, so I've got my piece of paper here like this. If you've never curled paper before, it takes a little bit of practice, but it's quite fun to do. And after this, you're going to be the best at doing Christmas present ribbons. You need the kind of pencil that's got edges, it's got little ridges around the edges like this, not a smooth pencil. Take the end that's attached to the rest of the piece of paper. Hold really firmly on the piece of paper with the pencil underneath, and use your other hand to hold that piece of paper still. And you're just going to move the pencil along, holding it firmly with your thumb, and let go. That makes one little curl. Same with the next piece. Another curl. The more you do it, the more confident you'll become, and the easier it gets. If your curl doesn't appear very quickly the first time, do it again. And again if you want to. And it makes it a curlier piece. Sometimes when I was doing my first wig, the piece of paper would snap off while I was curling. It doesn't matter, because quite a few of those pieces snapped off like that. It doesn't make any difference, because that will be hidden when you make your wig. Or if it's one on the end like this, you can always rip it off and not worry about it anymore. Now what I've got is this little a strip of paper at the top with all my curls coming from the end. Oh, this one didn't curl very well, so let's do that again. So I have a strip of curls. I'm going to turn it so that the curliest part is outwards, and then tape it onto the bottom of my cap, starting at one side. Now, that's everything you need to know to get started with the first part of your cap. I'm going to show you one more time, and then it's up to you. Keep building up your wig, layer upon layer. When you get to this stage, you need to start adding a fringe. You can always cut this later if it's in your way, but for now, you're just going to continue this line all the way around to the front. So you're going to continue adding your pieces, going around in a circle, working up and up until you get to the centre. I've reached the top of my wig now. I'm almost there. So these last few pieces are going to form a kind of triangle right on the top of the head. That will take the curls right the way into the middle. Now, do you remember all those little random pieces that snapped off while you were working? I've got quite a lot of them. This is where they become really useful. So I'm going to recurl these last few pieces that came off in my hands, and I'm going to add them wherever I feel that there's a gap. Now, there is a bit of a gap on the very top, so I'll add a few of those. And then I'm going to go around the front of the wig and just check to see if there are any more pieces where I think these little extra ones would be useful. And there we have it. My wig is almost finished. It does look a little bit wild at the moment, doesn't it? So what you can do is, almost as if it was real hair, run your fingers through it, loosen out the curls where you think they're a little bit tight, and arrange them in areas where you think it's a little bit gappy. And then you can come down to the front of your wig and think about whether everything there is the shape that you would want it to be. Mine, I think, needs a little bit of a trim here because I've got a funny right-angled corner, which I really don't want to see. You could cut it off, or you could add another curl if you want to. So let's see if there's a space where I can add a curl. I could tuck an extra one in there, and then that covers up that funny gap. It doesn't have to be in the same angle as the others. It could be hidden underneath. And then I've got a much prettier ringlet on the front. And hey presto, one finished wig. Let's try it on and see how it looks. If you've enjoyed making a paper wig with me, have a look at our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, see if there's anything else on there that you fancy making, and check out our website, nationalcivilwarcentre.com.